Second career game with no touchdown passes for the Broncos. 0-3 when it comes to road games. They lost 3 straight games after starting 2-1. But let's start with the winners here. Starting with Jay Herb after this one.
We've got so much respect for him. We know he's hurting, and that's the great part about the NFL is those guys. They're committed to our team, and he's tough, and that's all you can say about him. For him to go out there and play and put up with some pain like that, it's great to see from him.
This was a complete team win. It was a tough, rugged game. Outstanding defense over there, and it was tough sledding in every way for all 4 quarters and overtime. And it was just a tough and rugged game, and it took everybody in powder blue to win it.
So you got 2 teams, one heading left, the other going right. The Broncos on the struggle bus after dropping the last 3. We'll return home in Week 7 for a matchup against the Red Hot Jets. I don't think anybody wants to see them right now. Of course, we saw what they did to the Packers on Sunday. The Chargers will stay at home at the crib, hosting the Seahawks, who are coming off that divisional win against the Cardinals. As for the Broncos, though, here's Nathaniel Hackett and Russ kind of sound like a broken record. We've heard this 3 times in a row after yesterday.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. I think all those guys know that. They're disappointed. I'm disappointed. We have to look from within. Every single person has to look at themselves, how we can all get better, whether it's the penalties, whether it's the self-inflicted wounds, what we can correct to be able to move forward. Because there's still a lot of football left, and we got to grow. We got to be better as a team all around. It starts with me and the offense, and then we got to keep the defense off the field. Special teams got to be better. I mean, there are so many different things. We're always hard on ourselves, and we'll be sure to correct those things and make sure we move forward and get better.
But listen, I think the only thing that matters is us winning. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The only thing that matters is us winning and finding a way. Been through tough times before. I know that we can come on the other side. We got too many good football players and guys who work their butts off every day, and so we got to make that happen. And there's no excuse for it. We got to find a way. Like once again, I thought we did some really good things. We did some things that we should have tightened up and done better. And so what I'm focused on is finding a way to keep doing the good things that we were doing. How do we keep doing those things? So tonight was unfortunate. We should have won that game. We felt like, and we got to keep going.
In other words, don't do what you did yesterday. On the wrong side of history when it comes to playing extra ball for Denver this year, joining the Niners from 2017, the Bengals in 2013, teams that have lost back-to-back games in overtime. On top of that, the first team in NFL history to have a 1-point loss and 2 OT losses within the first 6 games of the year. Let Russ cook, still stuck in the kitchen. We haven't seen it quite yet. Denver, by the way, ranked last outright in the NFL, just averaging over 15 points per game. Zach, what in the haberdashery is going on here?
Yeah, so a defensive game like last night, is only right that we bring in a former NFL defensive lineman like Jay Douzable here in studio to break down just an awful performance. It was another snooze fest. NFL's got to get us some better games out there on the docket because we want to see some good competition. The Chargers, they get the win. It's their 3rd straight. We'll give them props, I guess, because they're now 4-2. But the game just wasn't fun. What's your outlook looking at the Chargers now? They're 4-2. And their chance to compete.
Yeah, to me, the NFL is all about adjustments, Zach. One team made them, one team didn't. If you look at the Denver Broncos in the first half, talking about let Russ cook, he went 10 for 10 in the first quarter. They did things he likes to do. They got him on some bootlegs, got him on the edge. He was able to break contain. He also found Greg Dulcich. Now, the Chargers defense aided that, right? A couple busted coverages. J.C. Jackson, I believe, in cover 3, went with the guy down the seam. Greg Dulcich is wide open down the right side for a touchdown. And then right before half, K.J. Hamler wide open. Again, another busted coverage. He gets behind Derwin James and also J.C. Jackson. So the Chargers helped aid that, but they did things that Russ likes to do. He likes to get outside the pocket and be able to throw that moon ball down the field. Well, in the second half, give a kudos to Brandon Staley because he switched things up, right? Went a lot more man coverage on the outside, and he brought 5 blitzers every time, right? Whether it was Tranquil, the linebacker, I know you saw the highlights when he had the sack, or he had him spy so Russ couldn't get outside the pocket. The 2 defensive ends did a really good job of getting to the height of the quarterback, not letting Russ get outside the pocket, and then other times he would bring Derwin James. Athlete on athlete. Derwin James is one of the best athletes in the NFL. They kept Russ in the pocket. It was the adjustments by the Chargers that had them win this game.
Broncos had their opportunities in overtime, in regulation. They don't get it done. Are they done now?
It looks like it, right? The thing is, I know they keep saying, like, we still have, it's early in the season. We have time to make adjustments. But the thing is, we just have not seen it. This offense has not been on one accord. And again, Russell Wilson likes to play off script. That has been the issue with him going back the last year and a half. If you look at the systems, when Shane Walden was the offensive coordinator in Seattle Seahawks, it's the Shanahan tree. Same thing with Nathaniel Hackett, who came from Green Bay. It's the Shanahan tree. The quarterback is a rhythm-based offense. As soon as that back foot hits, the ball has to come off, or you're going to be in trouble like Russ was last night. That's not how he likes to play football. He likes to play off script. He likes to get on the edge, be able to throw those moon balls down the field. When it's timing-based offense, you've got to let that ball go, and Russ holds the ball too long.
Wilson, 15 for 28 last night, 188 yards. 173 of those came in the first half. Broncos have scored 16 or fewer points in 5 of their 6 games. Wilson's saying he has a hamstring injury. He had the shoulder injury going into the game yesterday. Is this just a case of he's not meshed with his new team yet, or is his career, the Russell Wilson that we've known for so long, is that guy gone?
I want to say that guy's gone because I think that's disrespectful. I mean, this guy was one of the most winningest quarterbacks, or maybe the most winningest quarterback in his first 10 years of his career. But like I said, Zach, going back a year and a half, just watching the film, it just hasn't looked good. Again, he likes to play off script. And in this offense, you cannot play off script. You have to know where to go with the football and let that ball go. He's holding on to the ball too long. Yes, I know he has the lat injury, he supposedly has the hamstring injury, but that has nothing to do with not letting the ball go. No, honestly, too, the receivers haven't gotten much separation on the outside. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy haven't gotten much separation. And the thing that you watch, one thing you don't want to have on your team is you see guys on the sideline gathering together, talking by themselves. That's the one thing you don't want to have. You don't want dissension in the locker room. We saw Jerry Jeudy go up to Melvin Gordon. He looked like he was in disgust. They were having a conversation. Melvin Gordon got pulled the second half. That game didn't play. That's the one thing you don't want. You don't want dissension in the locker room because that'll tear you apart early in the season.
It's interesting to see what type of leader Wilson can be now in the tough times for Denver. Yeah. On the other side, Justin Herbert, a few years ago, looked like he had so much promise in the league. Looked like he was really going to be one of the rising stars. 57 pass attempts last night, an average of just 4.2 yards per completion, 0 TDs. He becomes just the second QB since 1950 with 55-plus pass attempts and 0 pass touchdowns in a win. What do the Chargers need from him to be able to take that next step?
I think everybody has to pump the brakes, right? Let's give some respect to this Denver defense. If you look at it out of the 6 games, in 5 games, they held a team to 19, which was last night, 12, 10, 9, and 17. I mean, that's playoff football, Zach. If you hold the opponent to that low of a number, you should win the game. Patrick Surtain was locking up Mike Williams, and to me, he's a top 2 corner in this league right now in year 2. Mike Williams, in 2 previous games, went over 100 yards. Gerald Everett had some drop passes. So I think this Chargers offense will be all right. You got to think about it. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. They don't have their Pro Bowl receiver, Keenan Allen, out there. They don't have their Pro Bowl center, Corey Linsley. They lost their Pro Bowl left tackle, and Rashawn Slater. It's going to take time for this offensive line to gel because all the injuries up front. But again, before this game, before they played the Denver Broncos, this offensive team was cooking on offense. They'll get back right. They just got to get healthier.
All that not being healthy, they still are 4-2 in the AFC West, tied with the Chiefs for first place in the division. I think it's safe to say that the Chiefs are the standard bearer in that division. Yeah. But how do you view the rest of the league and the rest of that division?
Yeah, the AFC West, right? A lot of people said this was going to be the gauntlet. This was going to be a tough division. And I think it still is, right? I still have the Chargers winning this division. I said it in the beginning of the year. And I'm going to stick with it. They just got to get healthier. If you saw earlier in the year when they played the Chiefs, they actually should have won that game, that pick 6 late. Herbert trying to find Gerald Everett, who was tired, didn't really cut in on the ball, ends up getting picked off by Jalen Watson, and he takes it back to the house. And then also the Chiefs, really close game versus the Raiders that they should have lost. The thing you have to understand with divisional games, no matter who you're playing, it's going to be tough because you know that team really well. So I honestly think the Chiefs and the Chargers get in the AFC West. I have the Chargers winning that division. The Raiders, it's tough because they came out with a gauntlet of a schedule, right? They've played the Chiefs, the Chargers. They've also played Denver, who they won, and they played the Tennessee Titans, who were the number 1 team in the AFC last year. I think a lot of people tend to forget they were the number 1 seed last year, and they look like they could potentially win the AFC South again. I know the coach is starting to come on strong, but they've come out with a gauntlet. So I think the Raiders can make a push the second half. I don't know. It might be a little too late for them to get into the playoffs. But I think the AFC West is still really good. I don't know if it's the best division in football anymore.
Yeah, it's no SEC situation right there. He's Jay Douzable giving you breakdowns you won't find anywhere else. And for more football news, make sure you check out the Pick Six podcast with Will Brinson, Ryan Wilson, and John Breach. They dissect a week in the NFL that was full of upsets and surprises. Subscribe to the pod and give them a listen.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.